Hey folks, welcome back to Trend Talks AI. You've got Shannon Murphy here, Global Security and Risk Strategist at Trend Micro. And of course, this show is your quick hit guide on everything artificial intelligence, generative AI, agentic AI, MCP. How is that influencing how we secure and what we need to secure? And today, what we're unpacking is an event that took place earlier this year, Pwn2Own in Berlin. To help us through it, to help us do that unpacking, we have Dustin Childs with us. Dustin, thank you so much for joining us today. Catch us up to speed. Where are you? Who are you? What do you do?
Hi, well, thank you for having me, Shannon. I'm Dustin Childs, Head of Threat Awareness here at the Zero Day Initiative. I'm based out of Nashville, Tennessee, actually, so here in the Mid South where it's nice and humid in the summer. But so part of my job at the Zero Day Initiative, we are the world's largest vendor agnostic bug bounty program. The key words there are vendor agnostic. So we buy bugs in Microsoft, in Trend, in Apple, in Cisco, in just about any product out there. And we take that bug and we find the threat intelligence. We use that to protect our customers, and then we work with the vendor to get that closed. Kind of an extension of that, you mentioned Pwn2Own. We have this contest now 3 times a year, and it started in 2007, so we've been doing it for a while. And the original concept was we had a MacBook, a brand new MacBook,
Mhm.
and the conference organizer said, "I'm going to put this on the conference network, and if you pwn it, which at the time meant if you hack it,
Yeah.
you get to own it." So pwn to own. So you hack the
Oh,
MacBook, you
yes.
get the MacBook, and ZDI paid $10,000 for that bug.
Yeah.
And from that, it's grown into a multi-million-dollar contest that includes everything from Teslas to operating systems to servers to now AI, as you mentioned in Berlin. So yeah, it's really fun seeing all these bugs come in and then working with the vendors to get them fixed.
Totally. And what does that mean for the security community, for the hacker community? Where does this organization kind of sit on the global stage, and how does it help build that community that, I think everyone in the industry is really keen to be building and investing in that. So how does Pondone kind of support that overall initiative?
Well, it's great because we offer a financial incentive for people to report things in a coordinated manner and get them fixed rather than having them either sell to an exploit broker or a
Mhm.
government or even a criminal underground marketplace. We offer them a lot of money. I mean, we gave away over $1 million in Berlin, uh, and they can actually highlight their research in a public forum, but it gets fixed. The bugs that we're seeing are actually getting fixed by the vendors before they're used by the bad guys. And that's really what we're trying to do. We're trying to learn the latest exploit techniques. We're trying to learn, the latest bugs. And in Pondone, it takes a full exploit, not just proof of concept. So we really are learning the latest. Like we had a Docker escape, and
Yeah.
the way they did it was a type of thing that we did not anticipate. So it's like, oh, okay, well, this can be an escape from now on. We need to rewrite the rules so we don't see that again.
Right.
But so that it's that sort of thing. We're always seeing something new, but that gives us the opportunity. We had 18 different countries represented in Berlin, so we are work with this international community of researchers to actually get things fixed, and that's great. So they
That's a
get
great
fixed before
point.
exploiting.
Yeah, that's a great point as well. I was going to ask you, like, where does Pantone ZDI sit on the global stage? Like, is this largely an American contest, European contest? But to your point, I mean, you've got such great international exposure, international engagement in this that it truly is kind of an international, global stomping ground, I guess, for the
Yes.
for the hacker community.
Yeah, it really is one of the top stages around the world for people to really demonstrate their research acumen and their exploit techniques. And again, we had North America, Europe, Asia, all places. I mean, a lot of representation. We've had people from Africa, Senegal compete. We've got somebody uh, from Macedonia who competes. So it's really all a very global event, and it's really fascinating to see all the people come in and their different experiences. And everything that they bring to the table.
Yeah, and all that different perspective, that different lens, different way of doing things. I think that I mean, what a better way to learn and grow than to be able to have access to that diversity of experience.
Exactly. Yeah, it really. I mean, we have a lot of great researchers on ZDI already,
Mhm.
but the international community that we work with really augments what we are able to do, and it really expands our repertoire. It's like gives us access to such great minds that we just pay a little bit here and there, and yeah, they give us their research, and then we go off and get it fixed.
Makes it totally worth it. And I think that's such a great way of, I think there's been a huge trend in security in the vendor space and the practitioner space of wanting to get more proactive. And there's certainly technologies that enable people to get more proactive. But even this from a process and research perspective, like you said, you're able to actually identify those vulnerabilities before they're being exploited as well. So just yet again, another opportunity to get ahead of that breach potential.
Yep.
So,
Definitely. I mean, we've been doing this since 2005, and it's really that proactivity that we want to see because we want to fix this stuff before it gets exploited.
mhm,
We know things are going to get exploited in the long run. We just want to have our fixes in place first.
totally. So this year, at the latest Pwn2Own event in Berlin, it sounds like you had a good number of firsts. It was the first time in Berlin, hosted
Yep.
at OffCon. Why did you do this, and why was that important for Pwn2Own to be hosted at this event?
Well, we always want to be at a place where we find the researchers who are into offensive research,
Mhm.
the people who are going out there and really hacking things and really researching ways to exploit the latest and greatest, whether it be phones or software or hardware or you name it. And Offensive Con in Berlin is a relatively new conference. It's only been around for a few years, but we've been a sponsor since year one, and it's a fantastic conference that really brings together those people. And it's a small conference. It's one track. It sells out in about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's a really tough ticket to get, but it's a very unique blend of people who are really the type of people that we want researching things for us and participating in the program and in Pondo.
Right. Okay, amazing. And then, the vulnerability landscape is always changing depending
Yeah.
on what services people are using, what technology is available. And, there's a lot of momentum there for the research community and, being really on the bleeding edge. But I know that this year was the first year that you introduced an AI category. So
Yes.
maybe, yeah, expand on this a little bit. Walk me through what those subcategories were, and why does this really matter for Pwn2Own and for these types of conversations and competitions to have this AI component?
Right. So we wanted to include AI because it's the hottest thing. So every year we try to uh, update Pondo to make sure it stays relevant. You know, we can't just do the same thing over and over and over again. That gets pretty boring. It's boring for us too,
Mhm.
much less the competitors. So AI, of course, is the hottest topic right now. Everyone's talking about it. People are doing podcasts about it. You know,
We're on one right
so
now.
yeah, I'm on one right now.
Yeah.
So we wanted to do, but we didn't know exactly what that would look like. We knew we wanted to go way beyond just prompt hacking. You know,
Mhm.
we wanted to do something with the frameworks themselves. So
Yes.
we had to try and figure out, first of all, which frameworks could we actually get, and then get to the contestants to hand them and say, okay, go find a remote code execution bug in this. So that took a little bit. Fortunately, we do have some partnerships at Trend with NVIDIA, so we were able to get some of their frameworks, uh, as well as some open source frameworks. And we said to the contestants, take a look at these and find code execution bugs. So in
Mhm.
other words, when you query a framework or when you send it a command, how can you do that in a way that exploits the framework itself and
Mm.
gets code execution there? Not necessarily code execution on another target. It's not something simple like that. And we had no idea really, other than one framework which says, "Do not install me in public because I have no security whatsoever."
Yeah.
So we knew that one was going to be we knew that one was going to be exploited, so we didn't include it. But yeah, we didn't know what would happen. We didn't know if there were going to be bugs found or not, and it turns out there were quite a few bugs. Yeah, we had over a dozen bugs exploited in the AI category, and it was really interesting to see. And it was another thing for us. It's like, how do we price this? Like we
Mm,
could price it too high and go broke. We could price it too low and no one would show up for it. So I think we kind of hit a sweet spot there with the pricing because we had good participation. But yeah, we wanted to see what is going on in these frameworks and are they secure enough to be trusted for the things that we are asking them to do from a business standpoint.
yes, for enterprise use, for customer data use, for education, healthcare, like all of this opportunity, is certainly coming. And so I guess what would be really helpful is if you actually helped us understand sort of the breakdown between what risk is being introduced just from, expanding attack surface and you're using more containers, there's more code kind of at play, and what is actually net new artificial intelligence vulnerabilities. So I guess another way to say that is, what is just the infrastructure risk, and then is there some new risks that is actually inherent to the AI adoption?
Yeah, what we found in Pwn2Own is there are definitely AI specific risks that are being introduced by using these various frameworks.
Hmm.
And it really is introducing something into the supply chain essentially because you're using AI to do these things very at the very low level,
Hmm.
but you can actually exploit the framework itself to then alter everything else you're doing. So imagine if you're querying the AI to let's take the healthcare for example.
Sure.
Like okay, scan these 1,000 images and find the ones that have cancer in them.
Hmm.
You could exploit the AI framework itself to give false positives, false negatives, things along those lines,
Right.
and completely skew the results. But you take that on to like other industries where like automotive, it's like you could exploit the AI to say, hey, instead of making it 13 inches, make it 12 and a half inches
Right.
to something, along those lines that wouldn't be noticed very early, but could have catastrophic events down the road. So
Totally.
it's really low level supply chain type stuff that's being introduced by using these AI frameworks. And it shows that they have to be defended in a very specific way, in a very thoughtful way, to make sure that those types of attacks don't occur.
Totally. And that's really, part of that innovation life cycle as well, right? We want this technology, people are implementing it. It's really exciting. But yeah, to your point, we want to be really thoughtful because so many AI applications are brand new code, right? And that
Right.
new code is probably more likely to have bugs in it. So this is kind of a notable risk of a lot of AI applications today as well. So not only
Yeah.
is your attack surface larger, but the surface is also novel in that way
Right.
as well. It's not just business as usual necessarily
And
compared
we're
to
dealing with code that hasn't had a lot of security scrutiny. If you take
yeah.
an operating system like Windows or Mac OS, people have been looking at that for decades now.
Mhm.
AI is, really new technology.
Less
There
than
hasn't been a lot of research into it. The research that has been done is very light. So it's one of the reasons we wanted to include it in Pwn2Own. It's like, let's take that research and dive deeper and put more scrutiny on the frameworks themselves and see what is there. Because, like I said, we had no idea uh, when we put it in the contest, even if anyone would show up. So
right.
we were thrilled to see people show up and thrilled to learn what actually is in there, and also interested to learn that it's the same type of bugs in AI that we've seen in other products too. So
Mhm.
it's heat-based buffer overflows. It's all these other bugs that we're familiar with. It's just now in AI that we have to go and root out.
Right. I think as well, what can be kind of encouraging from a business perspective is looking at your tech debt as well. So I always say, the most productive AI applications are actually going to be the most well protected ones,
Mhm.
because you're not having those mistakes, like, those kind of real life business risks, like operationally in that automotive example, or, horrifically in a healthcare context as well.
Right.
I mean, those are costly and dangerous mistakes. Whereas if you're investing really early in that AI deployment, you're actually going to have better business outcomes, more productive applications as a result as well.
Exactly, and we've used the word already, but the thoughtfulness of actually deploying this stuff and making sure that you're not just rushing it to production. I know everybody wants to tell their investors, yes, we're using AI for this and that, but doing it in a way that makes sense and doing it in a way that's easily defended.
Hmm.
because those systems, like, time has shown everything gets attacked eventually.
Yes.
So it will be, your AI systems will be attacked. That's not exactly a hot take.
No, that's a
Yeah,
mouse we're all playing right now.
yeah. So, yeah. So do it in a way that you can defend it too, and that's not always the flashy, the sexy, but it's going to be the best in the long run for sure.
Absolutely. We covered some really important stuff here. Real life risks, that was really helpful. Real life scenarios. Touched on the supply chain, maybe just to dig into that a little bit more before we start to wrap up here. But how do you think folks should be thinking about their supply chain risk today and within this artificial intelligence context as well? What is kind of some of your best advice that you could give to security teams and practitioners out there?
Well, I always say, to security teams, the best advice that I have is know what you're defending.
Hmm.
And that is an incredibly difficult thing. It's a very easy thing to say, but it's actually a really hard thing to do. To even on, like, okay, this is my network. Where are my devices? Mapping that out is really difficult. I mean, they sell products to passively find things on your network because you can't find them.
Hmm.
So it's easy to say know what you're defending, but especially as that supply chain goes lower and lower, kind of in, the technology, you
Hmm.
have to know what you're defending. You have to know where your stuff is. So if you can't identify what you're relying on as an enterprise, what are your core essential products and services, you're not going to have a chance defending them. So you've got to get in front of that. And whether it is an AI framework, whether it's a specific server, like, your whole company could depend on one SharePoint server for all I know.
Sure. Yeah.
But you've got to make sure that you are defending that in a way that makes sense.
Right.
So it's easy to say know what you're defending. It's hard to do, and I've been out there, so I appreciate that.
For sure. Yeah, doing, not only that asset discovery and the inventorying of your own environment, but also getting things like the bill of materials as well from
Right.
your partners. Recently, on this topic, we did an episode on model context protocol risks. I just wanted to pick your brain, Matt, if you had any thoughts on this and kind of how people should be future proofing as they start to, get more out of their AI deployments and as they start looking at automation and agentic workflows.
Yeah, the automation is always great, and it's always terrifying,
Yeah.
because once you set it up and tell it to do a thing, it will.
Yeah.
And you might not understand what you're actually asking it to do. So I always, I'm a network defender by trade,
Yeah.
so I'm incredibly paranoid. I always say take baby steps with this new technology.
Yeah.
Let someone else run through the wall and get bloody first, learn from their mistakes. So I say don't be an early adopter for a lot of this stuff. But again, I'm incredibly paranoid and don't have a business that relies on this either.
Yeah.
So, but my my th- my my core tenet still is understand what you're doing by doing this. When you're
Right.
setting up automation, understand what it really means. And I have a little example, and this is a story on me where I screwed up, where I didn't know what I was saying.
Yeah.
I was defending a location, and I had a host-based intrusion detection system, and I set a rule, said, okay, I'm going to have these core files in Windows NT, was defending a Windows save. If they change time, I will know they're modified. So give me an alert on that.
Mhm.
What I didn't realize that Windows really only has one time zone, and
Mm,
that's GMT,
mm,
and it bases everything else on off of that.
mm.
So when daylight savings came around, the entire file system changed time.
Yes.
I generated over 40,000 alerts in an hour and shut down 2 Exchange servers.
Yes.
So I didn't know it did exactly what I told it to do,
Yeah.
but I didn't know what I was telling it to do. And that's where automation always gets me worried, because I've screwed that up
Yeah.
personally.
So
Uh,
basically, learn from, whether learn from earlier versions of automation, have your
yes,
use cases, and I think that what you're telling us here is start small. In
start
a
small. Yes,
yeah.
always start small. Don't put your business, critical stuff on there day one. Make sure you work up to that.
Totally. I think especially now where, in a lot of these categories, there are no experts and we're all learning together in real time. So, yeah, start small, have your small project, get your hands dirty, learn what's happening, what your outcomes are, if it's misaligned to what you want it to do. And then you can always grow from there.
Right. And you can always and always have a way to revert.
Yes.
So that's always important to me too. Is know where you're going and know how to get out of there too.
Yes, those two-way doors are so
Yes.
important. Hey, I think it's just about time to wrap up here. But before we did, I did want to ask you. We've got a big show coming up in August, of course, with Black Hat USA and DEF
Yep.
CON, of course, happening in Las Vegas. Any plans for the Zero Day Initiative? Any plans for Pwn2Own at the show?
Hacker Summer Camp. Yes, I will be in attendance, as well as a lot of people from the ZDI team,
Cool.
because we are celebrating 20 years of the ZDI. We were
Excellent.
founded actually at Black Hat, was the announcement, in 2005. So we are having a celebration there at 2025 to, kind of enjoy that, as well as hand out this year's Vanguard Awards. So these are industry awards that we look at and appreciate some of the vendors and some of the researchers. So yeah, we will be in attendance, and I will be at the Trend Micro booth. If you want to come by and say hello, I love it when people say hello. So I will, definitely swing by. We've got coins, stickers, lots of giveaways. So if you're a person who likes those things, we'll have those things.
Awesome. Well, happy birthday, Zero Day Initiative. And we'll leave you there for today. Thank you so much, Dustin, once again, for joining us on the show today. We've got lots of great episodes coming up through the summer on a lot of the AI research, state of AI threat, some controversial topics when it comes to, risk of data leakage and how legitimate that's been in the wild. So please do stay tuned for future episodes. Thank you again, Dustin, and we'll catch you on the next one.
All right, thanks, Shannon.